Hi, I'm Kathryn Yarborough, and this is the Waking Up with Kathryn show. And I'm really excited to be here today and to share with you a little bit about my process over the last 24 hours. If you watched the show yesterday, you'll know that something happened. I received a phone call and I got very activated by it, and I was feeling at the time a lot of sadness and a lot of fear. And so I want to share with you a little bit about what's happened over the last 24 hours and to let you know how I've gotten to a place of joy, and I feel joy. It's great. I love it. Powerfully do this work, and then things happen. So over the last month I have increased my spiritual practice, and over the last approximately 3 months I have been powerfully invoking the possibility of success. For me, it has to do with really bringing forth the work that I'm called to do. And so what I've been experiencing is this sense of like lifting the bushel off of my light. And in fact, it's interesting, as I say this, it's becoming clearer and clearer. This is what I'm here to help other people do. I've been very powerfully invoking this possibility of success, as well as increasing my spiritual practice and committing to doing this show and sharing with people about my waking up journey. And so I get this phone call yesterday, and it totally activated me, and I went into this incredible place of fear and despair and sadness and this sense of, I can't do this, it's not going to work, there are all these reasons why I can't do it, and I was scared. And so what happened is I noticed during this that my feelings were way out of whack. In fact, I've written down some things to become aware of if you get triggered. These are some 4 possible indicators of getting triggered, and which means that the situation that we're having in this moment, or the feelings that we're having in this moment, isn't about this particular situation, or a very small percentage of it is. Like 1 to 5% of our feelings might be about this situation if we've been triggered. So here are some indicators. It's hard to breathe fully and consciously, and what I noticed yesterday was I was really holding my breath a lot, and it wasn't very deep. If you're feeling anything other than love and compassion for yourself or the other person, then likely you've been triggered. And I was feeling angry, and I was feeling blaming. I was feeling a sense of blaming. If only he hadn't called, I wouldn't have shut down in the way that I did. This is what was going through my head on some level yesterday. I was like so annoyed. I had gotten really clear about my work yesterday afternoon. I had in 24 hours, in the previous 24 hours, 2 really juicy conversations with colleagues who are supporting me on my journey, and I was excited about my work, and I get this phone call, and I go into shutdown, and it's all his fault, kind of. That was going through my head. I knew it wasn't true, but you know, that was what was happening, and I shut down, and I had wanted to come home and exercise and do some different things, and there was no doing it. There was some stuff about my work I was going to do. It wasn't going to happen. And it was like, I went to a place where last night I was like, I just want to give up. I don't even want to be here anymore. I mean, it was very funny. Well, it's funny now. It was uncomfortable at the time. So another indicator is that it's hard to respond effectively in the present situation. And also, if your emotion or feeling lasts longer than 1 to 2 minutes, then you can know that what you're feeling is most likely, I'm 99 to 100% certain, if your feeling lasts longer than a minute or 2, then the feeling isn't in response to this particular situation, but this particular situation has pushed the button or opened the doorway to a past situation that is unresolved and unhealed. So what I know about this is, or what happened for me, is that I remembered all this. I knew this to be true. I knew I was in reaction, and I knew that with some time and some love and compassion with myself, that that something would shift. This is what I did. I had compassion for myself, and I gave myself permission to feel my feelings. Yesterday I cried and I was really feeling scared, and last night I got into a place of rage, and then this morning I looked at what was going on, and I realized, and I asked myself, and this is a useful question to ask yourself, does this remind you of any other situation? So what I remembered was this was very similar to what happened 3 years ago when I had powerfully started to step into my work. Again, it's a similar situation. And some people got upset with me, and I felt scared, and I felt angry, and I went into a sort of a shutdown that's lasted for several years, quite honestly. I've been in this sort of pseudo out there, partly retreated, in some ways completely retreated mode. I mean, there's been some things that I've been doing, which is great. But now I'm like ready to step fully out there, and boom, I get this phone call right when I'm making this a decision to move forward, even if I don't know all the pieces, you know. And so boom, I get this thing, and it was like I got really clear this morning. Oh my goodness, this is exactly the feeling that I had 3 years ago when when people had a reaction to me and the work. This is my experience and the work that I was calling forth. So this is JJ, and Lucky's down here. You probably don't see her. And so anyway, so I got really clear about that, and I explored, you know, what could this be about? And I looked at something from my childhood that I know happened, I'm sure repeatedly, where, you know, I was doing life and I was being me and expressing myself, which is what I'm up to right now. I'm up to really fully bringing forth who I am and what I'm about, like I'm doing right now, and fully expressing myself in ways that support helping professionals and conscious business owners and other people who feel called to do the work that they do. So anyway, I know that when I was a young child, I was fully expressing myself. We all are. And I know that it upset, I don't know if I upset people, but I know that one of my parents got angry and had, you know, expressed anger a lot. And I know that I shut down around it. I remember, you know, multiple times. This is even what I can remember, so I know it had to happen when I was younger, and I don't really even remember where I felt scared and I felt shut down, and really went into a place where I couldn't express myself anymore. So there it was again, showing up again. And so and this is very interesting, when I asked myself, you know, what part of me is this person who called representing, and I got clearer about it. My cat just did a funny thing. When I got clearer about it, that it had to do with this part of me that's afraid, that he was kind of representing the part of me that's afraid to fully step out, and I owned that part. Within 5 to 10 minutes, this person called me again, and we had a really nice conversation. I was able to be completely present with him and responsive to what's going on, and I no longer feel scared. In fact, I feel very excited. The other thing that happened is I got really clear that I'm going to try on doing a youth stream video show that is going to be a morning show at 6 a.m. And inviting people to join me for spiritual practice. I had thought this was going to be that, but it's clear that I'm thinking that's going to be a better alternative as a regular practice show, so I'll let you know more about that. And then I also got a lot more clarity about the work that I'm doing and going to be doing, and I've got all the details. I was able to write down all the action steps that I need to take and get more organized about it. So I am very excited. I'm feeling wonderful. I'm no longer not wanting to be here. I am delighted to be on this planet, and so I wanted to share that with you. I'm sure that most of us go into reaction at some point or another. Hopefully this will be useful for you, that you'll know that there's other people out there doing it and that there's a way to get through. So happy holidays.